All right, I hit the recording button. It's starting now. And let me turn on this transcript. Here we go. Okay, so can someone define or answer me about what is, in simple word, what is Scrum? I'm not gonna go by books or dictionary definition. You can put your answer in the chat. You can unmute yourself and start talking. What did you learn from the previous class? Like what is Scrum? Anyone? Any volunteer?
It's one of the portfolios under the umbrella. Agile umbrella.
Umbrella. Agile umbrella. There you go. Okay. Okay. And it's a
Some
Scrum
kind of
Master.
framework.
It's a Scrum framework. Scrum is a framework. Okay. Partially correct. Of course, there's no marking or grading or anything. Please don't be shy and feel free to share anything that you can think of. And thank you for those who answered this question, and they were really courageous enough to talk about it. Um, I can hear some feedback from the folks. Sayed Ali, are you going to talk or uh, Scrum is one of the framework of Agile? Okay, that's great. So, what is the basic philosophy of like Scrum or behind the Scrum? Is it how it differs? Okay, let me ask you this way: what makes Scrum different or Agile different from the waterfall? The difference between waterfall and Scrum or Agile, because both are almost same.
We break it into pieces. So we break the same process or
Yep,
project into the pieces.
perfect. Ahmed,
So
thank you so
instead of
much.
building the whole house, we're building the door first or the foundation first,
Mm-hmm.
go one piece
Perfect.
by one. And if there's any flexibility comes up in the requirements, we adjust it accordingly.
Wonderful. Yeah, you can work in chunks. Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. Really appreciate it. Yeah, that's great. We break it down into the small iterations or small pieces of the requirements instead of like eating the whole elephant. Remember, I gave you examples. Although we don't eat the elephant, I mean, I would not recommend you guys to eat the elephant. But this is one normal our agile coaches use it. Or if you guys want to eat the camel, right? How's that? So you will not eat the whole camel all by itself at one time, right? One shot, right? So you will break it down into small chunks and eat it. Iterative. The whole idea is to break it down into the small iterations, and each iteration is the feedback or input to the next one. Okay, and then at the end of each iteration, customers or stakeholders. I'm sure everyone is aware of what is stakeholders, but again, look for the Google, or even I will share you some the input as well. Actually, in fact, I was thinking to build a glossary of the Scrum or Agile, because there could be some folks that might be saying, what is stakeholders? Stakeholders is someone who is sponsoring the project, like funding the project, who have the interest, right? Who is the initiative of that project, actually, in simple words. So what they do is, like um, instead of at the end of each iteration, that's where I was. You have to show you show something that okay, hey, here's the outcome of this small iteration, okay, and then what's your input? What do you like? Just like you build a house, or as a example, I mean, we keep saying that you plan something that you want to see show it to your kid actually. That hey, I built a Lego city for you, right? So you don't build the whole city all alone. You build a small like foundation and then walls, and then show it to your kid. Hey, how do you like? Or even same thing applies to our customized house or applicable to our daily life as well, right? So at the end of the each iteration, you get the feedback from the customer or stakeholders, whoever have the interest or sponsoring, and then how I mean if whether if they want to change the are updated or not. And then if they're satisfied, customer satisfaction is the key in Agile and Scrum. We will get to that point in a minute. So that is the whole idea, or like a pure ingredient is of the Scrum and Agile is the customer satisfaction, and break down the small iteration, the whole over the break down the whole project into small pieces, small iterations, and deliver it with the time box activity. with that, we're gonna get start to our this material of this class. Remember, I promised you guys to that I will show to you a kind of a YouTube link that that is also clears your concepts. How because so far everything is in fly, right? We've been talking. I have not because since we are in remote, right? We are not. I have not divided you into the smaller groups to talk about it, even if you guys are comfortable with that or not. What in our reality pure Scrum or Agile training, what Agile coaches do is they break the whole class into the smaller students, like 3 or 4 students, and then they give some kind of projects or kind of assignments or breakout sessions, and then they come back to in the main session to share your ideas and how I mean, what is the outcome of that their topic or discussion is about where they were before. So with that, I'm going to show you a quick video. I mean, it will not take more longer than 4 or 5 minutes. That's my idea is to spend more time on discussion on collaboration, but at the same time we rely on the videos, right, to show it to you guys to clear your concepts. So keep in mind the beauty of Agile and Scrum is to break down the requirements into the small pieces, small iterations, and deliver it. And you will see it is kind of eye-opening video. You will see there's so much difference, how much time it saves, how much reliable it is, how much is like kind of less risky. I will pause between the videos, okay, that video clip, and I will be talking to you guys. Anyone at the end of the video, I will be answered. I believe I will be open to answer any questions as well based on that particular video. Okay. With that, I'm gonna get started. Bear with me. Let me open up into the. Wait a minute. Just a second. I know your audio is not might not be coming for now. Bear with me, folks. 1 minute, because remember we had issues to share the audio. Let me go into the sharing mode and turn on the audio right here. Okay, and the screen. Okay, with that, let's get started. So remember, I gave you kind of idea that we will be playing penny game. I mean, we will not be playing, but we will watch how it relates to the agile principles and Scrum principles. Some agile coaches call it a penny game. Some agile coaches call it a coin game. Okay, so let's get started. Can you guys hear it properly?
Yes, I hear.
Okay, here we go. So rule of the game: we have 20 coins. It means each coin represents requirements. That means like we have 20 requirements. Okay. And in this game, we have 4 stages. 4 stages, that means like each player represents each stage. Each player represents a phase of a project, like a planning, development, testing, implementation, right? Those type of phases that we discussed in the previous class, correct? So flip each coin, here's the rule. Flip each coin of the batch before moving on to the next one, okay? So before they pass it to the next player, they have to like flip the coin. They just can't pass the coin to someone else directly. So with that, if we have 20 requirements or 20 coins, that means we have in the first phase, let's keeping the waterfall in mind. The overall total batch size is 20 because we are taking the whole project all around, right? So, and then in the next phase or next stage, when we will get to the next level, I mean, phase of this video, you will see the agile or scrum, which is we will divide these batch size into the like 4 sizes into the 5. So, but for now, keep the waterfall in mind. We are taking the whole project itself, 4 stages, but rule is you have to flip the coin, right? And then move on to the next player. So here we go. Here we go. Okay. Look over here. They're flipping the coin, right? Phase one, like stage one, which it could be planning, right? And look at the timer. So now next stage is started. And he's sitting idle. Look at the other ones. You see these other are sitting idle, right? Because the development cannot start until the planning is finished. Keep the waterfall concepts in mind. This guy needs more caffeine. I'll try. Okay, here we go. Third stage is started. The
I don't see
development.
your,
Oh,
sorry,
sorry.
Ted, I don't see your screen.
Is it the issue with everyone?
No, I can see.
Okay.
No, I can
I
see.
cannot see. I cannot see it.
Do you guys have any dual monitor or? Because I have only single one. I'm sharing only from my laptop.
Let me
And
try.
also I see some other students already
Yeah,
able to
try
see.
rejoining if you can't see both or something.
There you go. Yes, please. Because I'm only using laptop. There could be an issue with my dual monitor, right? If I'm using it. So try to rejoin, or maybe some folks might be using from the phone. Because if they navigate to the audio section or participants list, they're unable to see the screen
Yeah, I
from the
think
phone.
some are able to see it, some are not. Can you
Okay,
unshare and share again?
unshare. Okay, here we go. All right, let me do one more time. And bear with me, folks. We have to go back again if they're unable to see the screen. And let me go into the escape. Here we go. Let me share the screen one more time. Sorry, folks, that they were able to they were able to see the screen. You have to repeat a little bit, but again, the pure idea is to clear your concepts, okay? And this is pure. This is kind of one of the ideal video that you can simply can relate to the waterfall and agile and see the difference. Now I'm sharing one more time, okay? And the volume is here and the screen. How's that,
Yeah, I'm able to see.
I can see
everyone?
it now.
Okay,
Perfect.
okay, there you go. How's that? I maximized it. I mean, it should not matter.
It's good.
Okay, are you guys okay to if we repeat a bit? Because we did not lose much of the time, right? And it's only 3 minutes for 40 minute seconds video. Okay, right here, round one. You guys able to see, were able to hear that earlier before, right? Keeping
Yeah.
waterfall in mind, 20 coins meet in 20 requirements. So that's why the batch size is 20. And 4 stages, each player represents each phase. Could be like, planning, development, testing, implementation, all those things. And flip the Hill's rule that you have to flip the coin before we move on to the next one. With that, let's go start. You see that others are waiting, right? Waterfall. When one stage cannot start until the previous one is finished. All right, third stage started. Look at the timer. Okay, the last stage. So again, this is uh, phase one, correct? Waterfall. Oh, I'm unable to hear the music. Something. Are you guys able to listen to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, look at this one. Now here's the outcome of our round one. So we had 20 requirements, like, overall project. And that means like, 20, like, one phase. Player one spent 39 seconds, player two, 54, and player four was laziest as me, 1 minute, 8 seconds. The total time they spent is 3 minutes and 40 seconds, correct? So remember, keeping the waterfall in mind. Now look at how the Agile or Scrum, differs from this one and also changes the life of the people and the software development and how it evolved. Okay, round two. Now keeping the Agile, here we go. Scrum or Agile, small iterations. Now same, requirements the same. We have 20 requirements, right? 20 coins. 4 stages, each player flip the coin before we move on to the next one. But look at this one. We reduce the batch size to 5. Okay, so now once 5 are done, like 5 coins are flipped, you can move on to the next one and keep and take another 5 and then flipping and then move on to the next one. You don't have to flip the whole 20 before moving on to the next one. Remember, small iteration. We break it down 20 into the 4 batch sizes of 5. Okay. Now you'll see the difference. Five. There you go. Parallel. Look. You see now the others are not sitting idles, right? We're keeping them busy as well. So it's parallel development. And look at the timer. So much difference. Oh my God. Look at that. Almost like, less than 50%, I believe. Um, so you see this difference. This is clear example of how waterfall like reacted and ended up like being. This is one of aspect timing from perspective, right? At the same time, at the end of each iteration, like at the each batch, like flipping of 5 coins, they also show it to the customers as well whether they're satisfied or they want to tweak it up or not. But you see the difference. The idea is to work in the small batches, small iterations, just like I showed in the previous class, right? So each iteration is input to the next one. Remember, they were flipping the coin and moving on to the next one, right? So at the same time, they were not sitting idle for a long time as well, unless other than as compared to the waterfall or like one iteration only, one batch, all 20. Any questions on this one? How was that?
So in Agile, everyone has the money, everyone's happy.
Ah, here you go. That's one of the concept. Everyone is rich. Okay, let me move on to the slide mode again. Where is that? Okay. All right, let me stop it for a moment and go back to our slide. Where is our class 2 contents? So this was our up to kind of revision, you can say. But at the same time, we also were there where we were talking about what is Scrum, right? Agile Manifesto. We talked about the Agile principles and values, and then that was our last slide where we ended up, right? So Scrum is an iterative and incremental framework that relies on the collaborative, self-organizing, self-managing, adaptive team. With that, I'm going to go ahead and to the next is our class 2 contents. So first of all, if you have worked in any of the project management settings or any of the corporate world, or even simply if you work on a Starbucks, I don't care even, it's every setup have as we mentioned in the first class, people, process, and technology, right? If you keep that in mind. From the process standpoint, process can't work. We are the drivers, right? Human beings. So people always drive the process. And Scrum always take those three all together. like we as a people capacity resources standpoint, follow the process guidelines which Scrum or Agile gives us, right? We follow that to deliver the projects or outcome. It could be a service, it could be a product, it could be anything. So using that particular technology as well, we use software to build another software. So keeping that in mind, each now we are talking about the guidelines of the process. Each process, no matter if it's a waterfall, like a old-fashioned project management style, legacy guidelines, or the Scrum, they have the recommended guidelines. If even some of you guys might have already gone through the PMP, project management professional training, right? That also have a project management, also kind of a time, scope, cost, all those things. That they have seven like defined processes that they follow. Over here, what they do is when they look at the drawbacks of waterfall, one of the main one of the main challenge they figure it out is everything was put on the shoulder on the of the project manager. Project managers were overwhelmed. Why? They, we should ask a big why. I mean, what could be the reason? We thought that that project managers' life are super easier. They enjoy their life due to the reason because they don't work actually. They get it done, right? They get the work done. What happened is uh, before Scrum or Agile evolved, project manager has to do everything in terms of getting the requirements from the business and like handing over to the development team, the business analysts to work with them, and also at the work on the starting from the project vision, roadmap, and also tracking the project itself as well, coming up with how much it will take, how much cost it will take to get to the project, right? To finish the project, how many people it will take, it will need, how many developers, how many testers, how many architects, all everything they have to do the math, they have to do the all the risk analysis, risk impact, and also mitigation, all those plans. And these are the few of the one examples that I gave it to you. What they did is they split the project manager role into the two folks in Agile or Scrum guidelines. Over here, one is called product owner, the other one is called Scrum Master. So they are the partners. They are sharing the roles and responsibilities of a project manager. Other than roles and responsibilities of project manager, these two also have some extra, I would say, responsibilities as well that are only specific to Agile and Scrum only, not related to the project manager old defined definition actually. So that's why the title of this even training is Project Management Using Scrum, because the guidelines or the stages or the software development phases are the same, but we reduced it. That planning, development, train, testing, implementation, we reduced into small batches. The practices are the same, but we updated it, we enhanced it. But at the same time, they enhance the role of a project manager as well. That's where you guys might be asking yourself, hey, I don't see a project manager title in the Scrum world or Agile. I never see that. They might be using companies. It depends on also companies to companies as well. There are so many titles of a Scrum Master as well. Some companies or organization, when they open up their position, they call it Agile Project Manager, APM. Or the other one is called like Agile Scrum Master. Someone they call Technical Scrum Master. There are so many variations of this title, like Scrum Master. You will see that in the Indeed.com or Monster or wherever you search for. But don't confuse yourself, please. As I mentioned, don't go by that. Oh, this particular title is not saying Scrum Master itself or Project Manager that I'm looking for, because oh, I heard an echo. Because they split that project manager into a product owner and Scrum Master. Earlier, project manager was used to do all alone, all together, everything the one the product owner is doing as well as the Scrum Master is doing. So over here, these are the other than these two roles, they also have one another which is kind of actually development team. So these three will be our focus of today's right now this topic, and then we will move on to the next values, when we where what values of the Scrum brings up in the software development. But let's go into the deeper dive one by one over here into the next slide. So hold on, let me just move on to the next one. But over here, let's take a look on the definition of over here actually that I captured uh, precisely. Product owner. Remember, uh, there are three things: what, how, and who. Right? For example, if you initiate any project, or it could be anything like renovating your house or planning a birthday event for your kids, right? The biggest ask is what is needed, correct? The biggest when you define a project charter or something, because that is your basic initiative, right? The ask is what is desired, what are you going to achieve, right? And why it is desired, what is the value of it. Okay, our kids will be happy out of that birthday party, right? Or we will have a nice clean house after renovating our house. Okay, there is a big yes, big why, right? What is desired? Okay, I want to renovate my house so I can be living happily, or I can, make my anyway, I'm not gonna go that route. Make my friends more proud of me, or appreciation. Oh, wow, you guys have a great house, something like that, right? Or I want to celebrate my kid's birthday so they can be more happy, right? Uh, Even so, yeah. So what is desired and why? This is owned by product owner. That is pure responsibility of the product owner. That's why they have big responsibility of driving overall team as well as the project itself as well. But at the same time, Scrum Master has kind of more authority on the process itself, and also kind of protecting the development team. There are some, just like it says, Scrum Master, keeper of the Scrum process. If you adopt a process, you have to respect it. Please follow it. Otherwise, you are burning money by transforming from waterfall to agile. That's why the role of Scrum Master comes handy. Primarily responsible, primary, Scrum Masters primarily responsible for protecting the team. They're also called Scrum Police. Actually, Scrum also you see the traffic police. They're tracking and make sure the accident don't happen. Although this is a kind of old concept of having a traffic police. Now we have signals and smart devices and all those things, right? Even cameras on the roads. But again, the you need something from a governance standpoint to make sure the process is followed, the guidelines are followed, and also team is protected. Focus is the key for the team. So that's where the Scrum Master's role really kind of in terms of important, to make sure they don't give every free hands to product owner to the way they want to drive the team. They can. No, they can't, because Scrum Master will be there in their way to protect the team. I'm coming to the product to the development team in a minute. The next role is Scrum team members. Remember I mentioned in the previous class, there is no concept about who is the developer or who is the tester or who is the BA or who is the architect. There is no definition of the roles, although they have core responsibility, core skills actually of each. But at the same time, they should be ready to wear multiple hats. Developer should be ready to test and to help in the testing team as well, or testing should be ready to help the development with their any needs. It could be unit testing, could be any even basic development or anything, right? So even Scrum Master can fill their role as well. Even Scrum Master can be a product owner can be a Scrum Master. So the ideas of, remember, cross-functional team. Cross-functional means they can share the path, and also they can do whatever is beneficial for the team. It's not something whatever they want. No, oh, I will be doing only this piece. I'll be picking this story, or like I'll be working only on this requirements, and I'll be washing my hands. There is no concept like this because that's what they call self-managed. So team collaborates, sit together, they talk to each other, they collaborate. Then they're not working in silos anymore, and so the idea is to keep the things moving, and also to get to the finish line and deliver a quality product. Okay. All right. Here we go. Another detailed levels slide reflecting the same concept that I shared, but here's another icing on the cake, actually, I would say. Customer customer or stakeholders. Remember I talked about it, who is stakeholders, right? So I'm not going to spend much time on that from the stakeholders definition standpoint, but I hope you guys already understand because customers are, especially the stakeholders are the ones that have, they are sponsoring the project, they are funding, and also they want to see that, use it, and play with the product or the outcome of the project. And the customer, same thing, right? So over here, as you can see, a product owner takes the feedback from the customers and the stakeholders right here in this arrow, and then bring it back to the team, voice of the customer. That's why product owner is also called voice of the customer. They represents the team or scrum masters. They can't directly talk to the customers or stakeholders because, I mean, the idea is to focus, right? Otherwise, if they start talking over there directly bypassing product owner, they will lose the focus of their actual work they're delivering, they're working. So that's why product owner is the voice of the customer. Oh, I visited Indiana branch over there, and they're asking to enhance this feature. Okay, he or she visited as a product owner, not me, because they're the field. They work with the field champions to get the feedback to enhance it. One of the feedback of my product that I worked with in the past is they're saying that, oh, we had to click on like 6 times to get to that level where they want to process some information, right? Is it possible to reduce the number of clicks? So bring the screen up front on the, from the main home page to the next page. That's it, simple. Don't go into the, more click on this, click on this, click on this. After 5 or 6 clicks, then they get to that point. So that was one of the feedback they received as a product owner, and our team delivered it. That is one of the example. So even you can use it during your interviews. This is related to this topic that we're talking about, because as a team, we don't go in the field to talk to them and get surveys and process the data, collect the data, and then prioritize it accordingly. That's where product owner comes up. Earlier in the waterfall, it used to be same thing. Project managers used to be as well. That was the responsibility, one of the responsibilities of the project owner, project manager as well. That's why they split those responsibilities between product owner and Scrum Master in Agile world. Coming to the point. So then product owner takes the feedback, collaborates with the customers and stakeholders, comes back, and he talks to Scrum Master as well as the team together, because again, syncing is together. It's not something that product owner directly reaching out to the team. What they do is, hold on, let me edit this. Okay. Uh, Product owner talks to Scrum Master that, okay, here is my wish list. Here is the product owner communicates the prioritized business requirements to the Scrum team, creates the prioritized product backlog, and defines the acceptance criteria. This is a kind of whole separate topic of each, where it says product backlog, acceptance criteria. We will get to that point in the future classes if we don't have today's class, because we have a lot to cover. It's not something that can be, everything can be done or completed in one class. But the whole idea is, if you summarize it, they come up with their wish list where they want to get to the next level, this product, if there is an existing one, right? Enhance it. Or if there's nothing, it's brand new, then it's quite simple. Like they have to come up with the whole kind of product backlog, sequence it, prioritize it. It's not something that, for example, you remember I showed you example, gave you example of following like assembling a product if you bought it from the marketplace, right? Or if you are building if you are baking a cake. So if you don't have bowl or anything to put it into the microwave, how can you put the powder box into the microwave? You need a bowl, you have to put it. There is a process and sequence of steps that you have to execute, right? So that's where it's not something that you execute step number 5 instead of number 1. So same thing, they prioritize it because they know the value, as well as the prior importance of the work and sequence of the work as well, how this could be done. They could be wrong. Again, failure is possible, but most of the time they're field champions actually. They're not entitled product owner just accidentally. No, not like that. We will get to that point of the characteristic of product owner as well in a minute. But they come up with a team. Hey, I visited this field, or I talked to the customers. Here's our surveys results. Here's our wish list. It could be 10 points. It could be 10 features. It could be 100. But they gradually they refine it. They groom it. It's called backlog grooming actually. Backlog, when you if we are using backlog right now, think about the whole list of the product coming from the product owner. Hey, I want to you enhance this feature. I want to create a new one. The whole thing, just like you things to do. Whenever you start a day, you pick up a sticky and you write down what are you going to do that to do, and then you prioritize it, right? Same thing. So then they feedback, they get this input to the team, and then Scrum team starts working on it. But Scrum team demonstrates the product increment to the product owner during the sprint review meeting. Scrum teams work on that wish list in smaller chunks or smaller iterations, just like I showed you the video. And then at the end of each iteration, or think about each iteration means a sprint. So basic even definition of sprint is the smaller iteration as well, where at the end of each sprint, you show you MVP, like minimum viable product, to the product owner, right? Hey, we worked in 2 weeks of time box, like when you time box the things. We worked on during these 2 weeks, and here is what outcome of these 2 weeks. Look at that. What do you think? We designed a homepage, okay, during these 2 weeks. That's it. We did not do anything else. How do you like this homepage outlook from a user experience standpoint, right? Look and feel, which even automation cannot even validate because the eyesight catching from the user experience standpoint, things are different than robotics can do. Well, I'm not going to go into that route, but I hope you got the idea is to give you guys kind of concept idea, clear your concepts, not into the deeper dive of those discussion where otherwise we will deviate from our core topics, right? So I gave you that. I just pick example homepage to show it to you because you guys, everyone is familiar with the homepage, right? Whenever they visit the websites that you guys visit. And then based on that, they said, oh, well, I mean, I thought the colors looks different. And then can you a little bit change a little bit? And then okay, we'll do that. But let's talk about prioritization, how important it is. Is it critical right now to change it? Then we can pick it in the next sprint, right? Next iteration that we are planning. Or you're patient enough to hold for a few more weeks, and then we can start working. Those are kind of debates. Collaboration, remember, keep that in mind that we've talked about the Agile values and manifesto, right? Constant collaboration, continuous feedback, all those things, customer satisfaction. They feel more confident that, oh, wow, team is talking to me on the daily basis and asking my input on the every iteration at the end of 2 weeks. I mean, I feel more confident. I feel I have more trust on the team. Otherwise, in all like agile, waterfall methodology, when they used to play with that, they the major feedback that were coming from the senior leadership. Hey, we don't know what's going on because we are just having weekly meetings and we are just presenting the Gantt charts or giant charts, whatever you call it. And we were just given, oh, here we are, and we are behind a few days or something. But I mean, I'm not sure what's going on, how the team is working, or because they have not never asked my input or feedback where they are in terms of actual development, not the tracking, beautiful charts or documentation and all those things. So at the end of 2 weeks over here in Scrum or Agile world, you get to use to show it to them that okay, here are we are, and are we behind our track? That's different story. We'll keep working on it. But let's talk about how you feel about it, right? What do you think? Is it satisfy your expectations or needs more tweaks or updates? So that's the pure idea, and this is what is summarizing over here. Scrum team demonstrates product increment. Product increment means iteration or small batch to the product owner during the sprint review. Sprint review means at the end of the iteration. because we have not get to that point, sprint every like ceremonies and all those things. But that's why I'm explaining it to you guys. Iteration, sprint, same thing, same definition. Okay, smaller iteration. Sorry, not the longer ones. Scrum Masters, what does do? Scrum Master ensures a proper work environment for the Scrum team. This is very important, actually. Trust me. There's a cool video. If I found it, that link, actually, my Agile coach showed it to me once a while. It's called like where even as a Scrum Master, I don't mind talking to the VP or even president, because if my team needs help in order to protect them, in order to help them, in order to resolve any impediments or blockers that are on their way. Because the bigger question is what Scrum Master do? Okay, or even you guys might be asked during the interview, hey, what do you what do you work as a Scrum Master, or what is the most activity that you enjoy as a Scrum Master? My answer is always protecting the team, because most of the team in waterfall world or old legacy school world, the product owners or the leadership, they used to reach out to directly to the Scrum team, like development team, uh, coming up every day on their desk. Hey, like Shahid, can you work on this requirement because this is very important? I need it for the meeting. Hey, like Faisal, can you work on this report? I need it urgently. Rather, even asking without asking them what kind of work they're working right now, deviating their focus and and just getting their own things done for the sake of their to make their life easier. That's it. That's what the biggest feedback from the development feed, one of the agile cause or reason why agile, how agile evolved. Remember, like history of agile, I shared the link with you as well. When they look at assess the risks and challenges of the waterfall, is that the focus was not there. It was being diverted every time. Whoever wants there, for example, they have three or four manager level leaders, right? They used to come every day on their places and, hey, I want you to work on this product requirement. The next day, the other one is coming, other manager, and asking something else. And then they say, what, well, like, what's going on? Like, because they're feeling uncomfortable because they were unable to focus on their core responsibilities or the development work that they were delivering for the project. So over here, the Scrum Master comes handy. Over here, I will be the first one to protect my team. I always shoot an email if I see I empower my Scrum team every single day, that is there any something that is slowing down your work that I can help you with. If I'm unable to help, I ask them, hey, who can I reach out to resolve this product, impediment. When we say impediment, the definition of impediment is same as blocker. They're blocked. They cannot move on because they are waiting for something or something is stopping them. For example, they could have a question for the product owner on a particular requirements that they're working on, right? So they say, I sent an email or I chatted with my product owner or business analyst. They have not responded back. I'm waiting for that. Or if he or she is out of the office, they're on vacation, something, right? So we are waiting. Okay, whoever goes on vacation or PTO, they always give them their proxy, right? Whoever is working on their behalf, on the things. So that's where we look and ping them people, reach out to the folks that, okay, hey, can you help us or in answering addressing this question for the team because they cannot move on. So this type of communication, facilitation, and helping the team, this comes up from the Scrum Master. Nobody can do that. I would not. I will never ever compromise on this in terms of Scrum team reaching out to the product owner directly and deviating their work or focus, because my Scrum teams is in terms of it's kind of actual engine delivery actual pilots of the plane, right? So let them if for example, if your kids are sitting in the back of the car, right, and if you're driving, they want to show you something. Hey, dad, look at this video or something. Oh, let me drive, let me focus on the drive, otherwise you run into an accident, right? So same thing, same concept, focus is the key. Let our Scrum team, because they are the driver of your bus or agile bus or whatever you call, and let them focus. Don't divert them. So the person who was sitting next to me is kind of Scrum Master, my wife, right? And then, hey, like, look, stop. Let me see your video or whatever you want to show. Don't, interrupt Baba because he's focusing on the driving, right? So same thing. Scrum Master has to protect the team is one of the core responsibilities. The other ones is kind of resolving the impediments, protecting the team, also creating an environment where the Scrum teams feel more comfortable. That's another good thing actually. Let me spend a few minutes on this one. Creating an environment, for example, if you join you end up the development team is sitting one developer is sitting on one cube, the other one is sitting on the next floor, and they're not talking, correct? They're not collaborating with them, only they just come for the scrum call, like, which is kind of daily scrum meeting, 15 minutes or 20 minutes on the same floor, and then they go back to their cubes. What I, as a scrum master, what I will be doing is I'll try my best to bring them on the same table, like, open floor policy. The whole team, most likely, the in ideal situation actually should be sitting together and collaborating. If they are distributing, the question might be in your mind again after this discussion. Okay, in person or co-located team is fine if they are living in the same city, right? For example, Chicago downtown, everyone is sitting on the same table or floor or area, right? But what if the others, some of few other Scrum of team members are sitting in different states, right, or other cities? Then it's called, like, distributed teams. For to handle that kind of situation, I open up group chats. I set up the meetings, or even I reserve rooms. Like, I keep my meeting open. Everyone can hop into my room, like in Teams meeting, just like you guys are, and then ask me, "Hey Shahid, I need help from this guy. Can you bring him online because I pinged him, he seemed away, or I unable to reach him, blah blah blah." And then I will do my best to help that particular individual to bring them talk to each other or set up a call real quick. Um, Even in fact, during my Scrum call every day, even today's even, I pinged three or four folks all together because we needed them. They were outside the team. Hey, can you join our Scrum call real quick? I just called them little because you have to have, like, shyness is sitting on if you are shy, you are not a pure Scrum Master. You can't be ideal Scrum Master. Even in fact, because you are kind of acting the role of project manager, right? You, and if the project manager, whoever is managing the project, think about these simple words, right? Rather Agile or Scrum world. If they are shy, if they're not, if they can't speak into the during the meetings to the folks, then how they can help the team, right? How the teams can expect them, then they will be helping them. So, having said that, like a Scrum Master, core responsibility, protecting the team, resolving the impediments, and creating the environment where the Scrum team can focus. Okay. Any questions on that? This is really important. We are getting to the now, core principles of Scrum and how the process gives you guidelines, roles, and then we'll get to the values and then ceremonies. Sorry, I heard someone was saying something.
Yeah, this is Ahmed. I just have a quick
Yeah.
question. So, and thanks for explaining the roles, especially the Scrum Master role in detail. In your home screen example, if we are
Mm-hmm.
trying to lower the or lower the amount of clicks, when the requirement comes from the stakeholder or business,
Yeah.
is it the product owner who does the estimating and timelining, or is it the Scrum Master who should be doing that?
Okay. Good question. So we are talking about what and why. We are not getting into how. So when we will get to the how part, then I will explain it to you that how that process will be is executed. Uh, because during that, one of the principle is like creating user stories into smaller pieces and estimate them. When it comes to estimation, product owners don't estimate them because who works on those development pieces? The development team. So let them estimate it. So they come up with estimates because they actually know the real technical word. I mean, in terms of like technicalities and all those things, right? Over here, from the business expectation standpoint, of course, product owner can jump in. but they don't estimate from the business standpoint. There is a separate discussion which is called business value that is apart from the actual estimation work. That actually Scrum team does that.
Thank
I
you.
hope that answers your question. But again, we will get to that point. How piece. Remember, like what, why, and how, and who, based on our previous slides. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So now we're gonna go into the Scrum ceremonies or events. This is something that we are now, our roles are clear, right? So we are feeding into the how part, how all this is being executed, coming to your Emmett's question as well. So overall, so remember one, I've been using the term sprint, right? But or as I said, the sprint iteration take is same it, but over here they also come up with kind of basic, pure, simple definitions of a sprint as well. Like what is the purpose of the sprint, or like what is how it relates to the Agile world, or when we say Scrum ceremonies or sprint ceremonies. So you should not be confused when we say someone is saying sprint ceremonies or Scrum ceremonies or Scrum events. So that's why I created this slide just to clear your concepts. It's not a kind of rocket science or something. Or if you see something conflicting with the definition or anything, if you found on the Google or definition or anywhere else, fine. But over here, remember, my idea is to clear your concepts so you guys can better consume it and apply it, and then be a successful Scrum Master, and then even the product owner, right? So the purpose, to turn idea into the value. Because remember, they have the concept in their mind. Hey, I want to make a electric car, just like Elon Musk might have some thought some a while ago, right? So the heartbeat of Scrum or sprints are fixed length events of 1 month or less. This is something that is you have to keep in mind. Those are time boxed events. These ceremonies are events. These sprints, those are time boxed. Even the definition of project itself is, remember, I think previous class we lightly talked about it when we were comparing project versus product. Remember, project has a deadline. Actually, the product does not. Product is sunset. Either it's shut down or it's just keep going. Correct. But the project itself has a deadline. It has a limitation, like time box things. For example, this project will take 6 months. It will end up in December 2023 or something like that. I'm just giving example. There's a timeline. There's a, like each phase have their, like planning perspective, but the idea is fixed length. Correct. It could be a month or less. Why? Because small iteration, keep that in mind. Remember, we divide it into the small chunks of the requirements, right? Just like based on our first video. Earlier we had only one batch 20, right? What we did, we divided into the 4 batches of 5 requirements. Of the 5 Scrum events, the sprint is special case as it is a container event. Sprint is overall on the top of this if ceremonies actually. Sprint is overall kind of container because these containers have those ceremonies. Those are the kind of layers. If you have a kind of, a food container, you stack them up together to build one, right? So it's a container that have all these the 5 ceremonies. We're gonna spend more time after the break actually on those ceremonies in detail, which is kind of, that is the remaining 4 events all occur within the sprint. The one is continuous actually. So there are no gaps between the sprints. Sprint is never ending. Actually, it's Agile or Scrum. One of the actually interesting topic that I conversation that I had with my team is, oh my gosh, we never get to take a break. Actually, one sprint ends, the other one starts. Right, one starts immediately after the prior one. All the work required to achieve the product goal and all other Scrum events happen within the sprints. So this is one of the concept of continuous integration, continuous development. CI/CD also relates to the Scrum as well because it's never-ending process. It's kind of continuous process, and you guys might be fascinating or even might be thinking how it can be continuously in progress if there's nothing to do for the team, right? If they end up nothing to do. what they will be doing, right? So those are kind of interesting topics that will come up in our during conversations in the future slides and future topics. And also there is a reason, you will be surprised how we keep the team busy, especially with this fast-paced setup, right? One sprint ends, one like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? Within a month or less, just like you mentioned. And then like same rhythm happening, keep happening, never ending, right? So how it's possible, how it gets done, or if there are some scenarios they end up having nothing or less work, how they keep themselves busy, or how you guys handle those kind of situations. We are up to 1 hour mark, I believe, right? More than that even. So is it okay if we take a 10 minutes break just like we did it before? Okay. All right, I see. Yes. So 10, 7, 12, we come back. All right. So yeah, I heard I think BA maps to the product owner. We'll come put this on our idea boards. Okay. This feedback, the BA role. We will spend some more time as well. I think I did it the previous class as well, but I'm happy to do that again. Okay. See you guys after the break. I'll put it in chat as well. Okay, are you guys back? Can I hear back? Can I hear something? Yeah, nay, anything? Okay.
You should.
All right. Sure.
Yes.
Okay, dokie. Couple of things in this second part of this training is let me go on mute. Actually, um, one thing that I already identified for you guys is before we move on to ceremonies. Remember we talked about the roles, right? Scrum roles. So there's a clip which is kind of how much is 5 minutes video. That will definitely also clear your concepts of all those three roles as well: Scrum Master, Product Owner, and the development team. Would you guys are interested? Are you guys interested to look at it and clear your concepts and come up with any questions or something? What do you guys think? Again, we rely on the videos, right? Most of the time, especially with the remote setting.
Sure, yeah.
Okay. All right, let's get started. Share my screen. And here we go.
Hi, today we'll be discussing the different roles in Scrum. If you are new to Scrum, please watch this video explaining the Scrum framework, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content on Agile. So as discussed previously, Scrum has three main roles: the Product Owner, the Scrum Master, and the Development Team. The Product Owner defines the what the product should look like, and what features it should contain, and clearly express those. One of his main responsibilities is to bring the voice of the customer, speak with stakeholders and customers, and incorporate their feedback in the product. The product owner is the sole person responsible for maintaining the product backlog and ensuring that everyone knows the priorities. Prioritizing the work is another big responsibility of the product owner, because conflicting priorities and unclear directions will reduce the effectiveness of the team, and also it could break the trust relationship that the development team might have built with the stakeholders and customers. Product owners should be empowered to take decisions on what should be added or not added to the products to be able to maximize the value delivered by the team. He should also be able to work with the team and stakeholders, and sometimes say no to stakeholders if what they are asking for won't bring high customer value. And for this reason, product owners should be qualified. They should have expanded knowledge on the business, the customer, and the markets to be able to take decisions. Last but not least, product owners should be available to the team and stakeholders to answer their questions and clarify the requirements when needed. Now let's look at the Scrum Master. He is a servant leader for the Scrum team. Scrum Masters help the Scrum team perform at their highest level. They do this by holding the Scrum team accountable to their working agreements, Scrum values, and to the Scrum framework itself. They serve the development team by coaching them in self-organization, improving the team dynamics and motivation, facilitating Scrum events as requested or needed, removing impediments to the team's progress, and protecting the team from both internal and external interruptions. Scrum Masters serve the product owner by helping them better understand and communicate value, finding effective techniques for product backlog management. They help the product owner to plan the work with the team to deliver the highest customer value. The Scrum Master also acts as a change agent. He serves the organization at large, helping them understand what Scrum is and create an environment that supports Scrum. Now, let's take a look at the development team. Scrum has broadened the word developer to include not only engineers, but anyone who is involved in creating a product. So a developer role in Scrum means a team member who has the right skills as part of the team to do the work. The development team is a self-organizing, cross-functional unit. They decide how to accomplish the work set by the product owner, have all the skills needed in the team, and are empowered to do what is necessary to manage their own work and meet the sprint goal. So no one has the authority to tell them how to turn product backlog into a desired value. The development team should ideally be co-located and long-lived, and the ideal size for a development team is between 3 to 9 members. Any smaller, and the team couldn't accomplish enough each sprint. Any larger, and communication becomes complex. As a summary, in a Scrum team, the product owner is responsible of defining the purpose and ensuring the team is building the right thing. The development team is responsible of building the thing the right way and have a high-quality product. And the Scrum Master will be responsible of helping the team to build the product well and fast and removing the team's impediments. Having the right balance between purpose, quality, and efficiency will help the team to reach their level of effectiveness and high performance. I hope this video clarified the different roles and responsibilities.
Okay. All right. What do you guys think? How do you guys find this video?
Good detail.
Okay. Yes, definitely. It also paves the path for your product owner career as well if you end up being a product owner, because there was one feedback in the chat as well that, oh, BS can be ideal product owner, right? But again, we will get to that discussion. Who can be the right product owner, or I mean the ideal for that or not. But trust me, also there's one thing that was kind of sequencing the work when I was sequencing this training. I I clicked on the Scrum what you call roles instead of the values. Can someone elaborate the Agile values that we covered in the previous slide, previous class, previous training? What are the Agile values?
So it's speed, faster, get
Okay.
things done faster, smaller pieces, iterations, and being flexible, agile,
Okay.
change
Good.
requirements, on the go.
Wonderful. And we talked about those manifesto and values right here. I'm bringing this up. These are the Agile right here. Remember what Agile values? Individual and interactions over process and tools. It has 4 values and 12 principles. That is Agile, right? Correct? Since now Scrum is part of Agile, in order to refine it more, what they do is Scrum also have its own set of values as well. And one of them I lightly already talked about in the first phase of the class. So that's why before moving on to the sprint ceremonies, I see this much more value because this will feed to the ceremonies as well. And again, apologies on the changing some sequence because I was not aware that I thought that I already covered those Scrum values and with the detail in the previous class. But I found out during the break that, oh, wow, I missed it. But again, I hope it's not too late. But trust me, we are still on track for the school from the class content standpoint. Okay, with that, I'm going to cover. Remember, in previous class I showed you right the 4 values of the Agile. Now they refine it into the Scrum values. What are the Scrum values? Why Scrum is more famous framework among us other in Agile even itself, right? Scrum values are commitment. First of all is focus, openness, respect, courage, and commitment. Those are all somehow might be related to each other, right? But again, looking at, I will pass a little bit quickly because we already have been talking for a while, right? Scrum team members have courage to do the right things, right? They're empowered to take the decisions, especially when it comes to the development standpoint, right? Everyone focuses on the work of the sprint and the goals. People personally commit to achieving the goals of the Scrum team. It relates to commitment again. Scrum team members respect each other to be capable and independent people. Respect is really important. It's because They may have some differences or conflicts between themselves from personality standpoint or thoughts or anything, right? But they have to respect each other. Otherwise, it's a big disaster. Scrum team and its stakeholders agree to be open about all the work and the challenges with the performing the work. So over here, this is really in detailed, actually, every single value I captured. And again, I'm not going to spend the whole rest of the remaining time, but we will quickly move on to the ceremonies that I promised. At least I will start with the first one into this ceremonies, because there are a lot, like 4 or 5 ceremonies that we have to cover, which is pure ingredients of the execution, like, how we execute a Scrum. But again, looking at first, if, for example, if someone asks me, can you elaborate a little bit? What if the focus is not there? What is the purpose of bringing this focus into the Scrum values, right? Here is what if they lack, for example, what if we lack focus, right? Missing compromising on focus will result in ambiguity, like, uncertainty, lack of clarity. I'm not clear about it. I'm waiting for that, or lose the trust as well. So lack of clarity means the team will miss the sprint goal. That will end up like customer not satisfaction. How we can achieve the focus? Concentrate on only a few things at a time. Small iterations, small commitments. Deliver faster. Know where we stand at any given point of time in the sprint, right? Meaning keep an eye on the progress and assess and situation and react it accordingly. Ask yourself, does the work I'm doing contribute to a sprint goal or not? For example, you guys might be working on like, other stories that are sitting in the backlog, not in the sprint, right? So you have to keep that in mind. Next one, courage. Missing courage will result in a less empowered team. Like, if I'm hesitant to say, oh my god, like, my manager is there in the meeting, they will, like, take it in negative, or it will impact my performance reviews, right, or something like that. Please don't do that. Have that courage to say that. It will help you. Especially, this is not even recommended that, like, the managers be part of that Scrum teams. That's a different discussion. I'm not going to go into that. That is coaching level. But again, don't be shy. Remember, I showed you. I mentioned earlier in the first phase before before the class, if the Scrum Master does not have courage enough to say anything, or even empower the team as well to bring any issues or concerns, right? How they can, like, get travel to the next level, or at least, like, qualities, deliver the quality software. When the team is not empowered, they lack the quality. Of course, the quality is compromised. For example, rather looking into the more detailed level, they will be just finishing in a few hours. Oh, I'm done. Okay. No, like, empower them to say it's not done. It's okay to say not done. Okay. uh, Way to encourage, build a culture, right? And like, be a kind of empower them, or set up a culture, like, treat them as a family, or work on the team building events. For example, happy hour, virtual happy hour, if they are distributed hours. I do actually. I enjoy it, working it. I work on some few games that they can play online. So that also brings them their courage, or share their thoughts, and even, like, feeling more comfortable to work with you, and earn their respect and trust. Respect and values everyone's opinion. If the opinions conflicts, learn to handle those conflicts constructively. For example, when it looks as like, someone's comment or opinion is not appropriate, ask him or her, is this the interest of the team or not? Right? Those are kind of, when we will talk about teams retrospectives. We will spend some more times on conflicts and how you can facilitate as a Scrum Master. Okay. Next one is.
Teacher,
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, go ahead.
is there any screens to share? I'm sorry, we're not seeing any.
Oh my goodness. Shoot. Is the, and whoever brought up got extra bonus points for me. Is it Festival?
Uh, yeah, now we see it.
There you go. Okay.
You share
My
the
goodness.
defaults with Faisal.
I think after the video, I lost the screen sharing when I paused the video. Uh, the YouTube link. Sorry about that. I'll quickly go over. These are Scrum values, right? Now you are able to see, right, Faisal?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so remember we talked about the agile values, people over process for values. We talked about those. So these are the Scrum values. I'm quickly reminding for the recording purposes as well. Like focus, openness, respect, courage, and commitment. So then we'll move on to the next one is like why each value is different. Why there are no more other in the Scrum values, right? It could be like transparency. It could be like something else that are like characteristics of project management practices, right? But all those other ones are related to those five only, the one that we have captured over here, and also given in the Scrum guide as well. You will find those same. It's not something that I'm just making a story or I just Google it or no, not like that. Yeah, that's why I shared the Scrum guide to you guys. Okay, so first one is focus. The other one I will quickly cover. Without focus, there will be a lot of ambiguity, uncertainty, and then the courage. If there is shyness, people are not talking what I mean, people are holding to themselves. It will impact trust and the quality because they will be delivering without looking into the like quality checkpoints. And then openness. A team has like openness in terms of transparency. Remember, I mentioned if they're unable to point out the concerns risks, how that can be addressed, right? I found a bug in the system. If I don't log it or if I don't bring it on the table, how they can work on to fix it, right? So you will end up like losing the quality, trust, team collaboration, all those things will end up. Those are tied up all together. So and also they're also recommending how you can achieve it, right? Develop trust among the team members. I remember I mentioned I played virtual games with them, or I work on different practices that are team building, other events like birthday celebrations and all those things. Okay, and then next one is commitment. You have to commit. If you work on something which is not committed, then definitely you will lose up the like prioritization in terms of like delivery standpoint, right? For example, if you pick a story from the backlog rather in the sprint, then it doesn't work because product owner already prioritized it, right? So the team is answerable for delivering value at the end of the sprint, right? And a compromised sense of commitment. When we kick off the sprint, when we execute the sprint, we will get to the sprint planning. That's where our commitment starts. So this is the scope of this iteration. We are committing it and we will deliver it. Trust us. Okay. So I also work on the team agreements. It's not something that you are speaking only on team's behalf. No, give the opportunity to the team to make the decision and make any adjustments. If they are not comfortable in picking one of the feature in that particular sprint, do some trade-off, like kind of work with your product owner, help them, give them understanding. The team might be wrong, right? Because they're not looking at the business value standpoint. Give them kind of understanding. That's why constant collaboration is very important. Draw team analysis, development, delivery. This is kind of again continuous process. The next one is about like respect. That is very important, of course, when it comes to respect. It's listed about depends on the team quality as well. Team lacking respect is demotivated. Remember, like disrespect causes demotivation. Hold on, here we go. So how you can do that as a Scrum Master? It's wisest to ask how to gain respect and then how to achieve it. Ask the team any feedback. How I give them an example actually as a Scrum Master, especially in the retros when we will discuss the sprint retros event. Often you see the sign behind the trucks. How am I driving? Please call this number, right? So what is this? It's a feedback. This is something to gain some respect, trust, right? So that's why I give them opportunity around the table at the end of my sprint retrospective. As a Scrum Master, please feel free to share any feedback with me. Or if you're not comfortable in saying within meeting, reach out to me offline. I'll be happy to take any feedback and improve it. So this is something that again work on those ways how to gain the respect from the team or even the stakeholders or the product owners. Give respect first, and then you will find yourself in a proper position. position to accept it. So these are kind of, Scrum values, not the sprint. Sorry about that. But again, if you take a look, those are all 5 values tied up with the Agile values itself as well, right? And whichever characteristic, other best practice you come up, you name it, they will tied up with those 5 somehow. It's not something that they missed some value to bring it and capture it. So you will see that even conflict resolution, right? If you think of conflict resolution relates to a couple of even values, not only one. Respect is the one of them when it comes to resolve the conflicts within team, right? And also openness and courage. So those type were kind of Scrum values that we went over. Sorry about the breaking a little bit sequence, but again, I'm a human being as well. So we talked about the roles in the Scrum that we went over, and we saw the video as well, right? I hope you find that video cool, and I will share the link with you guys. So that's where we will break our sequence before the break in terms of the ceremonies. We already talked about this sprint definition. I'm not going to spend time on that. Let's quick time check. Okay, cool. So, yep, Scrum ceremonies. There are total 5 sprint ceremonies. I mean, Scrum ceremonies. When we call it Scrum ceremonies, that's why we bring up this definition of sprint as well. So when we Scrum is a container that have those 5 ceremonies, and those are all 5 relates to a particular practice which is called sprint or iteration. Think about, you had in waterfall world, you had like 6 months of project, right? You break it down into only 2 to 3 weeks, but not the whole project, a piece of it, small iteration. Keep that in mind, right? um, Small chunks, small batches based on our videos, right? So you do scope it, you work on it, whichever you work with your stakeholders and product owners. What is important? What is the foundation or first step of that journey towards that product delivery? And then go from there. So based on that, and you will find that actually this is very interesting, how they came up with only those 5 ceremonies, not more than that or less than that, correct? The reason is because if you look at the software development life cycle, those are all related to the somehow those ceremonies as well. You will find that. Okay. The sprint, we already talked about it. The sprint itself is a container. So the next one, the first one is sprint planning. Remember, from the software development steps or methodology, planning is first phase, right? Correct? And then it comes to the execution, which is like, work on the development and testing and implementation, all those things. So that's over here. Same thing goes over here as well. Sprint planning itself, how you plan the work, how you commit. There are 5 officially defined Scrum events like the sprint planning. Somehow, even there are some debates. The sprint itself is a ceremony or not, but it's a container actually by definition. Anyway, don't confuse the itself in like yourself in terms of whether these are 5 or 4 or 3 or less. Consume those concepts and then apply it. Simple. Okay, as the definition we went over for the sprint. Sprint itself is a container that has all those ceremonies in itself. It's a kind of iteration. In each iteration, remember, you do planning, you do development, you do testing, and then you do like releases or the implementation as well, right? So keeping that in mind, we will move on. Scrum events Scrum events, which is sometimes called Scrum ceremonies, are important events or elements of the Scrum methodology which follows the Agile mindset and are often used in software development. Events are not just those are not just meetings. Trust me, those are not just meetings only. Those are something that is process has given you guidelines to follow, and you respect it. Correct. And again, those are time boxed. You have to keep that in mind. It's not something that those are forever or like without any outcome. Each ceremony has its own input and outcome. Then we'll get to that point. Um, for the sake, just meetings for the sake of the having meetings. It's not officially just only checklist. Oh, let's have a meeting, right? No, not like that. Rather, these Scrum events provide the framework for the team to get work done in a structured manner, help to set expectations, empower the team to collaborate effectively, and ultimately drive the results or deliver the quality result software. These are again, it's too early to a little bit call out or for any of the events to look into the more deeper dive. But think about this way that remember I mentioned like some software development methodology standpoint, and then we'll move on from here, like starting from planning and then daily scrum, review, and retrospective, all those things. Here's another view that I captured. Even it was part of my previous training as well, or kind of definition of each ceremonies. Over here you see like six. Earlier I showed you five. Why I brought it up? Because the reason is to understand the concepts itself. There are so many debates. Let them debate, the industry leaders, whether those are six or five or four or less. Product backlog is, is something that is like outside of the sprint actually. That's why some industry leaders uh, takes it, considers it as a ceremony, or sometimes some leaders in when I attended actually Safe Summit, they were talking about it's a continuous ceremony beyond sprint. It's not out inside sprint or outside the sprint. It has to occur actually to refine the work. Why? Because those are requirements that you commit. Those are high level in the beginning. Remember, product owner talks to the stakeholders, bring this to the team. When it brings to the team, those are only high level input. Here's my wish list. Just one line, two line requirements, something, that's it. Not deeper dive because we are not there yet. Due to this product backlog ceremonies, they work on continuously ask questions. They do some research, they do some analysis. Like even product owner goes back to the field champions to get the answer from the team. So that's one of the reason why this slide is different from the previous one. Again, remember, keep that in mind. The ceremonies that I showed you before, number of ceremonies, don't get caught yourself into the numbers that whether product backlog is a ceremony or not or something. Those are beyond after this training is over. Definitely you are welcome to ask and those type of questions. But again, I already addressed you one ahead. So one is continuous effort, right? Which is occurring every week or bi-weekly. The product backlog is not a list of things to be completed, but rather it's a list of all the desired features for the product. So that's why it's called product backlog. It's not sprint backlog. Keep that in mind. Sprint planning, which is kind of starting of the first ceremony of the sprint itself, when you use the sprint or iteration planning. Before each sprint, the product owner presents the top items on the top of the backlog that, okay, here's out of hundreds, top of these are 10 are my priorities. So let's focus on those. Out of those top 10, how many you guys commit during this particular sprint, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whichever you have defined the deadline. I mean, the time box, cadence you have set up. We will, I have a slide that will be addressing the cadence as well for each ceremony actually. So, but how it gets started? Product owner brings up to the team that, okay, here are my top priorities of this backlog, and I leave up to the team. I trust my team; they will be delivering. And remember, they are self-organizing, right? Self-managing team. So that's why I trust my team. But again, from my standpoint, here is the top priorities. I already ordered it, sequence it in the backlog. The team determines the work they can complete during the sprint and moves the work from the product backlog to the sprint backlog. There are two backlogs, two lists. One is overall holistic approach, all like inclusive, the product itself, the backlog, all the features, so many things like it could be rough ideas, shell stories, so many things. But they take the top ones that are well defined work that team understand and they commit out of that part of it. Remember, like MVP, minimum viable product, piece of it, where they can deliver all those work, no matter if it's 5 or 10, no question about it. But product owner and Scrum Master, they trust the team that they will be able to deliver, and that's where they start their planning, and the sprint is executed from there. Okay. The other one is the backlog refinement grooming. I already touched up. This is again relates to the product backlog itself. Or events and ceremonies, like same thing. They keep refining the backlog. Product backlog is the whole list, wish list from the product owner standpoint, and then they keep asking question. It's a continuous effort. It's a continuous ceremony. That's why you will not see that in the previous slide as well. Let me show you real quick right here. See this one, sprint planning. They're coming to the daily Scrum call right away. Okay, and it's over here on number 4. Why? Because these are the it's not something that you just forget about it or you don't execute them. Please don't do that. Backlog refinement grooming is also important, as important as sprint planning is. Without backlog grooming, you will not get the refined work. Remember, you filter it. Whenever if you work in the oil industry, like you have all raw oil, right? You filter it and to refine it, and then like make it to the usable, right? Form. Same thing over here. When the concepts inception standpoint, like the discovery standpoint, the product over backlog is overall list, and then they take it, they groom it, and they bring it into sprint planning, and sprint backlog starts. Again, each definition is also listed under that each as well. The product backlog is not a list of things to be completed, but rather it's a list of all the desired features for the product. Actually, it's the same thing pretty much, but actually I should have this clean up a little bit more. I think it's copy paste from there. But product backlog is a wish list. Backlog refinement is event or ceremony that has to be have or continuously happening to ask questions to refine the product requirements itself. Most importantly, daily Scrum meeting. Remember, like sprint planning from the Scrum Guide standpoint, after sprint planning, daily Scrum call, or like stand-up call. Some people also call it daily stand-up call as well. But official name or from the process recommended name is daily Scrum call. Scrum means like hey, let's collaborate. Remember, we the Scrum like Agile values. We value collaboration, right? Or individual interactions over the documentations. We don't care about the proper documentation or processes. They should not be rigid. But let's sync up every day. What is your plan for today? The daily Scrum is a 15 minutes ceremony. Again, it's over here they're talking about the timing as well. But I do have slide for the cadence and time boxing as well. But again, the recommended approach is 15 minutes. I mean time. But again, mine is I always recommend 30 minutes. There is a reason. I will get to that in a minute. Let me finish this one first. Daily Scrum is a 15-minute stand-up meeting that happens at the same time and place every day during the sprint. Okay, it has to occur same time, same day. I mean, same time, every day, same place. Okay, but again, you guys might be asking, how about the distributed teams? Those you have no choice. You can execute remote as well. I used to bring a speaker, actually a Bluetooth speaker, because in one of my career previous companies, because there were some individuals that were outside of the city, but they did not have the luxury of having conference rooms or video or like calls or reservations because they have limitation in the office. We had some common area. I used to bring the Bluetooth speaker. I used to put them on a call, and then they used to collaborate with my team. The ones that they were co-located. They used to be on the same floor, right? But I used to call them and turn on the speaker and then run my daily Scrum call instead of having a separate room or videos because we don't have it, right? In that scenario, I did not had it, but I worked around it. I bought a from the Best Buy. I grabbed it. I just built it, and my manager was happy. Oh wow, because they did not thought about earlier. They used to have only the phones that did not have proper audios. Anyway, I'm not into that. We have last class reserved for this type of questions, live examples, question answers, any scenarios that I learned, and I will be happy to share, and also even interview tips and all those, even beyond this, after this training, how you guys can grow and qualify yourself for the certifications. Those type of practices we will discuss in the last class, definitely as part of our wrap up. Okay. But again, now question is why some of the agile coaches they recommend 30 minutes. There is a reason. For example, in 15 minutes, team talks about what they did yesterday, what they what they achieved yesterday, what was their plan, and what are they in plan on track or not? Are there any impediments or blockers that are stopping them to move on? Right, that is very important. And then what is planned for today? What are they going to achieve during these 6 or 8 hours, right? They're going to work on. So after everyone is over, it could be a development team comprised of 3 to 9 people, recommended one, based on the previous video. Remember, you saw that. Um, because it could be some of the agile coaches, they have like 5 + 2 minus something like that, like 7 individuals or 5. And also some of they're in agreement up to bringing up down to 3 as well, but I don't think so that 3 is feasible because you need developers and testers as well, right? They are both are part of your development team, not only developers. Don't count only developers, please. That's why we call them development team. Whoever contributes to deliver that product is counted as development team member. Okay. Anyway, so let's say we have 7 team members, right? So they go within 15 minutes around the table or on the call. They're just 3 questions, right? What they did yesterday, what they have planned for today, and are there any blockers? Once they're done, you guys might be thinking where product owner fits into this Scrum call. What if they have any questions for the team, correct? Or if they want to say provide any feedback or market trends are changed, they want to make some adjustments in the sprint, right? Which is already in progress. How they can get time to collaborate with the team. So that's where our next 15 minutes comes in the picture. So I call it out as a collaboration time. The other Scrum Masters call it open time. Well, like we are open for any questions or any topics. Do we have any? Or there are some topics that might be helping the team to resolve their impediments or blockers. For example, one of the developer came up, I'm waiting for this requirements from the business analyst, and that particular individual is on the call, right? So if I, get caught into the weeds into that discussion, my 15 minutes will be over. So focus is the key. What I do is I park that topic on the side or write down for myself. Okay, I'll come back once everyone is done. We will come back. When I say come back means we also call it 16-minute topic as well. Okay, let's park it for our 16-minute topic. Okay, or collaboration time, whichever you name it. But again, this is your facilitation skills that you are empowered to do anything. You are empowered to say anything. There is no like hard and fast rule to you have to call it 16-minute rule, or you have to only choice to call it as collaboration time. The idea is to give the opportunity to the team members or outside the team members to collaborate with the team and share any feedback or answer any questions, do anything. Okay. In fact, I use this 16-minute time for even sprint demos quickly to get their feedback real quick. 5 minutes, get in, get out. Show them where you are, or even developers present their screens to talk about any impediments or blockers. Anyway, any technical concepts. So again, if it says 15 minutes, don't it's not it does not have to be only 15 minutes. The process gives you guidelines and also empower you to tweak it accordingly, according to your team setup, according to your organization's culture, right? So, but again, you have to sync up with your PMO or project management office or agile coaches, or there must be, you are not alone Scrum Master in the whole entire organization, right? So you have to see what are their existing guidelines, what are their process, where they are in terms of maturity as well, like Scrum adaptation or transformation. So these type of things that you consume first and then you react and like come up with any proposals. Anyway, sprint review, that is very important. Remember at the end of each iteration, you present it to the stakeholders, product owners, whoever they bring up. They are welcome actually. Ask them, hey, is there anyone else that you can bring up into our meeting, sprint review, to show them how we achieved it and ask any questions. That's where the customer satisfaction comes up. Because empower them to ask any questions because before it's too late, right? You have only worked for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whichever is your sprint cadence is, right? And then you have to you have you still have the opportunities and chance to change it according to their requirements or like ask or feedback. So continuous feedback is very important. That's where it comes up right here at the end of each sprint. The team presents the work they have completed as a live demo rather than a presentation or any documentation. Okay, so you show them working software. Hey, it's working. Look, but it's not complete. It's a piece of it, but you can play with that. Sprint retrospective, my favorite actually. One of these inspect and adapt actually. This relates to that. You guys might be asking questions that okay, what if we have transformed and product owner have trust on the team, but team end up getting a disaster or delivering not anything, right? So is it something that Agile is not working or Scrum is failed and they have to go back to the waterfall? No, not like that. Inspect and adapt. Learn from your mistakes and improve. So all at the end of the each sprint, the team reflects. This is also ending ceremony as well, like the sprint review. At the end of each sprint, the team reflects on how well Scrum is working for them and talks about any changes that they need to be made in the next sprint. And again, of course, it's by definition or from the over here, the details standpoint is saying that the sprint standpoint, right? Like how they can improve in the next sprint. But it doesn't have to be the improvement in the next sprint. It could be ongoing process or something. Let me give you an example. For example, during the whole course of 2 weeks of at the end of sprint, team were like were having constant conflicts with the product owner in terms of getting their questions answered or like any work waiting on a wireframe or prototypes of the product, and they did not deliver, right? And it was not given to them in time. So they can provide any feedback. Okay, we need like proactive reaction or response from the product owner or whoever the area they were talking about, right? Then outcome of that retrospective is an action item. Okay, they talk about what went well. I always start with the positivity. During the sprint, what worked for us, right? Let's talk about it. What did not go well? Again, if you give any kudos, appreciation, what went well, thank you to each other, definitely fine. That's good. Always start with the positivity, right? Let's talk about how can we improve as a team, right? What did not go well? That's where the team empower your team to speak up like openness, remember transparency, and empower them. And in during this retrospective team, I don't invite my managers, to be honest, or any other pure only. This is internal call. I set the expectations, I level set with the leadership even that okay, we are having a retrospective call. Please don't attend it because from human psychological safety is important, right? For me, for the team empower them, let them feel comfortable in sharing anything. And then, of course, you can take it and share with the manager, different phrases or word or anything. But within team, no, don't bring them on the table. The managers are there, and of course, you will you will not get that outcome 100% from that retrospective call. Okay, empower them what is working. If they have any issues with any of those team members or leadership or any process, or even someone might be challenging. Hey, it looks like I'm being micromanaged. That is one of the feedback actually I received from the team members. Why? I said, why is it? How can I help you? He said, every day I have to provide my status. That means I'm being micromanaged. So that, I mean, he was right, right? In his own thinking, right? because they have to understand what they had did yesterday, what they have planned for today, are there any impediments. I said, look at this, look at the bright side. You are empowered to say anything, but is it impacting your like managerial level discussions or not? If it's impacting, let me know. I will be the first one to talk to your manager. Okay, give them understanding, earn their respect, so they can trust you, earn their trust, so they can trust you to share anything that is happening with them. Okay, so it could be overall to the within the team or outside the team, or even I give them opportunity to talk offline as well. So there are so many ways to facilitate those discussions, but retrospective is very important. Inspect and adapt. Look at your current situation, current process, current culture, current dynamics, and then improve upon. And and again, come up with some action items. Not only action items, work on it as well. I saw some of the teams that they have handful of action items. Okay, we have to work improve on our phone call system, or our Jira goes down, or technology goes down, or whatever, like Visual Studio is not working, something, Windows network, blah blah blah, the whole list. But they don't identify the action item owners. Who is going to work on those action items to address it for the team? Putting them on the board is fine. Of course, it's ideal, it's good. Bring this on the table is the first step. But I saw many teams struggling towards improving actually. And every time they do retrospective, but they come up with only action item list and without any tracking or any progress on those. So when we will get to that every single ceremony in detail, in the I will share you some live examples again, just like I'm doing it, and also some best practices that help me in evolving myself as a great agile coach or scrum master. Okay, so these are the kind of ceremonies that I will highly recommend you guys to go back, look at the scrum guide. Even in fact right now, we can look back over here. I had my this PDF open. Where is this? Okay, this one. That was one of the reasons. Okay, here we go. See, look at this one. Now, Scrum Guide is the basic building block of this Scrum, and it always, whenever I read Scrum Guide, I learn new things. Trust me. And I would highly recommend you to not only read it one time, try to consume it and come up with any questions. Latest version was released in November 2020. Over here, as you can see from here, from the sequence perspective, and that's where our Scrum class is going as well. You see the Scrum values. We talked about it, right? And then they are coming to the Scrum roles and then events. That's where my sequence was a little bit off. When we talked about the roles first, and then we talked about the Scrum values. But again, I mean, I hope it's not too late, or it was not much disturbance for you guys. But we are talking about Scrum events right now from the sequence perspective: sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, retrospective, and all those are all captured over here on the pages over here. It's 14 pages document, but it has a lot in itself. Uh, Even the slides, I would highly say whenever you say, "Oh, can you share the slides with us?" Definitely, I will. You are welcome to take those slides or training or recording. But in in within participants is very important. Presence is very important, because during those conversations there are so many questions that may come up, they make that may click in your mind, that you can ask during this training, especially reading the PDF 14 documents. Anyone can print it and go through it, right? But even the slides are high level actually. Those are our discussions, start of the discussions or conversations. If you say, oh, I have the slides with me now, I can take all those contents of this training, I don't think so that is ideal. But I'm not pointing fingers on you guys or anyone, but again, I'm recommending you that the value, remember when we emphasize on the values, that what is the value, that outcome of this training is to be participant, be engaged, be collaborative, take it serious, so you can pass the exam real quick. Okay, let's quickly go over on the question and answers. Do we have anything? And when you see these questions, don't answer it or don't edit with the answers, because that answer might not be complete answer. That's why when I during this recording, and this audio is already being recorded, right? So whoever have question, they can look back and they can get the answer by recording, playing this recording, or ask myself as well. Because one question, there are so many variations of answering it, and if we keep capturing over here on these stickies, that will not be fair. With I see some of them already have started those answering, but those are some kind of basic questions, so that's why I let it go. But the idea is to keep this question on the sticky, and we can move on, of course. But I will move only if after I address it. Oops, sorry about I merged it. Oh, was it this? Okay, this is grammar consider. Okay, all right. Are there any questions in the chat? If someone is tracking and monitoring the chat or not? Do we have anything in the chat? Is there any screen to share? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Earlier it was I was not sharing. Um, Cross-functional collaborative. Okay, those are, I believe those you guys were collaborating. Let's take a look on the idea boards. Um, First of all, what is Scrum? I think we already addressed it. That's good. We can mark it as done. Unless if you want to go further, here we go. The next one is Scrum considered to the most flexible framework under the Agile. I think Raza asked this question earlier, right? In the first class, we addressed it. Unless if you have any question or if you want to hear more about it, I can keep it. What's the role of a BA in Agile? Good question, definitely. So you see this, you did not see a particular official title of project manager, right? Same thing over here, a business analyst. When we talk about the development team comes up the whole any type of titles that contributes towards the delivery of the product. It could be an architect. You did not see any architect role, or like when you see this, you see the development team itself, right? And that's what the video was talking about when she was explaining over here the roles, right? She specifically asked anybody that contributes toward the development or delivery of that product, right? That is under umbrella of development team. Same applies over here. Now, whether if it's BA or if it's an architect or if it's a like solution architect or anything else, you name it, DBA or anything. So those are part of our development team, and they will have a piece to deliver. It could be working on a server or working on a DBA, like databases or something. It could be anything. So it doesn't even apply only on not on BA, but any role other than like Scrum Master or product owner, they come under the development team umbrella. Does it answer you this question or not? Is it satisfactory to? Is it okay to move on to then?
So is the environment team also part of the development group?
Okay, good question. Environment team. From the agile perspective overall, there are some functional and non-functional roles, right? And also from there's one framework which is called SAFe, Scaled Agile Framework, which is on the top of the Scrum actually, beyond Scrum of Scrum, you call it. We have a kind of practice which is called architecture runways, where they define the roadmap for the architecture team. So environment team, creating environment, working on the creating new servers or a new instance of those teams, or platform team, right? So those are so there are two ways. They can be a separate Scrum team itself to take those feedback from the teams, right? Okay, this team needs one dev instance. This team needs one UAT or like user acceptance test server environment from standpoint, right? So they can build their own backlog as well and work on it accordingly on the priority standpoint. So when you say environment team, there are two ways to answer it. They could be shared among the teams if they're not team itself. So we do have shared resources, and they are 20% allocated to one team because they work on to create environment for that particular team, and then dedicate one individual to them. Of course, that is part of the development team in this scenario. But if they are separate Scrum team, then it's a development team itself, the whole entire team, right? Does this answer the question? I think Faisal Bhai asked, or is it was Ahmed?
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Anything else? I'm gonna keep this one just to be make sure everyone is okay with this question. But you guys are welcome to ask anything. Anyone during this week break, feel free to click on this plus. Again, I'm doing demoing this idea boards to help you guys to ask anything, any question. Remember, you are empowered to say or ask anything, and that's where the beauty of Agile or Scrum is. We just talked about it, right? If you're not openness, if you don't encourage them if you don't empower them to say anything, how can you learn more or take out of this holistically, the more great benefits of this training. So again, I'm typing it. You guys can edit it later as well. For example, if you are done, you can click on it. And this is edit mode if it's not in edit, so you can type it again as well. And please don't delete. I would not highly recommend. Please don't do that. I have the philosophy of any question is not a silly question. Um, don't say that, oh, this question might not make sense for anyone or something. Okay. We are 8 minutes over. Sorry about that. But again, as I said, we have a lot of contents to cover. I hope you enjoyed this session. Um, again, I will be happy to share these contents, slide and YouTube links, and also this recording. Anything else before we adjourn?
So thank you for sharing those personal examples, like, the collaborative events and bringing a speaker from the outside and, talking to the team. So thank you for sharing those it really helps.
Thank you. You're welcome, Mehmet. Okay, okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone. See you guys next week. Thank you.
Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum.